Summer is here and grilling season is upon us, and that means a lot of vegans and vegetarians get left out, but not with this grilled cauliflower steak with a gremolata. Let's get cooking with style. Let's get the dressing for the cauliflower steaks going. It's super easy. Black pepper, smoked paprika, crushed red peppers, and salt. That goes in there. We're gonna add about 1/3 of a cup of olive oil to that. And then I like a lot of garlic, so I put 3 cloves of garlic in here. And then we're gonna do 1/2 of a lemon juiced. Gotta have one of these. And this is super simple. So we just go ahead, mix that up. And this is gonna be what we put over the top and the bottom of our cauliflower. Get that done first so it starts to kind of marinate just a little bit. All right, so now the cauliflower, this is kind of the tricky part. This one is trimmed up, this one is not. That's how they come from the store. Also, we're trying to make steaks, so there's a little bit of waste, but we'll do our best to get 2 steaks out of this. We'll save the outsides for roasting in the oven. Here's the center point. So we want to go just on the outside of that to get that 1 steak. And see, we lost all those. Now, we may end up losing all this here, but we're going to cross our fingers and hope the steak stays together. There we go. There's 1 steak. Okay, it looks like we'll get 2. And we'll go ahead and cut that right like that. Ah, there we go. Okay, so now let's get our steaks ready to go on the grill. I've got it set on high right now because I want a good sear. Steak's looking good. Get our dressing, and we're going to put that all over the top and let it soak down through. So be generous with this because this is going to be the flavoring for our cauliflower steaks. We'll do the other side when it's on the grill. Okay, and I like to just hit it lightly with a little more salt just to bring that out. So the juices from the lemon, the other spices will start to really enhance the flavor. Okay, I've got my grill ready to go. Now you got to be gentle here. Put that on like that and like that. And then we'll take our dressing and just, it's gonna ignite if you get too much on there. So be not quite as liberal. Pick up all those nice little bits and pieces of garlic and get them in there. Okay, now we're gonna close the lid and put it on medium high. Let's make the gremolata here. Super easy. I'm gonna use fresh herbs here. We're gonna use a little bit of mint. And use the fresh ones, please. You can't do this without fresh. And we're gonna go basil, and we're putting about twice as much basil and parsley as we put to that mint. And then we're just gonna coarse chop this, roll it up so it's nice and tight. And the reason we're doing this at the very end is because the oils that are released from these herbs will get into the sauce. We don't want to over chop it as well, because if your board has a lot of green on it, that means the oils from those herbs aren't getting on the cutting board and not into your sauce. Okay, you see how coarse that is? In we go there. Scoop that up. Let's take a quick look under the hood here and see how these steaks are doing. Oh, there we go. Look at that. That is perfect. There you go. Okay, now we're going to turn it down to low and let that slow cook for about 15 minutes. So for the rest of the gremolata, it's really, really easy. Garlic, again, I like a lot, so there's about 3 cloves in there. We're going to take the light green and white parts of some scallions or green onions, whatever you'd like to call them. About 1/3 of a cup of olive oil. And then we're going to take the juice from a whole lemon, and this is going to be what we dress our cauliflower up with. Gremolata is usually used on steak, and so if you're going to make like a beef steak or a chicken steak or something like that, you could make this for that as well. But in this case, since we're making cauliflower steaks, we're going to make a gremolata. And then a zest of a whole lemon, that goes in there, and then a healthy pinch of salt, and about 4 or 5 good turns of that fresh cracked pepper. And then we're just going to toss this lightly, and this is what's going to dress up our cauliflower steak and this will be part of the presentation as well as the beautiful flavors that'll come together. So our cauliflower will be done in about 8 to 10 minutes. It's been about 5 minutes. I'm going to take a look at these steaks. They look pretty good. Let's give another little baste of our dressing over the top of that, and be sure to get all those nice little pieces of garlic up there. We'll put that over the top of this, and I'm going to give it a nice little turn here and baste the other side. Look at that beautiful char on there. That's looking really good. And another baste on this side. This is, I'm telling you, vegetarian heaven right here. And if you're a meat eater, you'll love it too. I'm pretty sure these are done, but this little knife will tell us for sure. You just take it and gently push it. If it goes through like that, you can tell we've got a nice soft center. Let's take these steaks off, and again, be very gentle with them. And we're gonna make a really nice presentation here. There we go. Get that down. Close up our grill. And now that beautiful gremolata, we're just gonna kind of put that over the top and around on the plate, because you know, it's about how this looks too, right? I mean, doesn't that look fantastic? A little bit of oil on the outside. And because we've got such beautiful ingredients, we want to enjoy all of that. So what we've got here is grilling season in full swing for vegetarians. A grilled cauliflower steak with a gremolata. I'm telling you, this is casual elegance here on Cooking with Styles. Summer's full of great vegetables, and one of them is white corn. It is full-blown at the store right now. This is a grilled corn salad with feta cheese and little grape tomatoes. You're gonna love it. Let's get cooking with style. I'm using white corn. You really need to use the white corn because it's got a much more tender little skin around the corn kernels. And if there's a little bit of silk on it, don't worry about that. We're gonna take about a tablespoon of olive oil, and I'm gonna just drizzle it over the top. There's no rhyme nor reason to how it goes down first. A healthy pinch of salt over all of them, and then this is up to you how much pepper. I usually put about 4 or 5 good twists, okay? And then now, you just kind of roll this around a little bit, just to coat the oil over the kernels as best you can. Whatever method you want to use is going to work. And like I said, the little bit of silk on there, it's not a problem at all. Corn's coming into season right now, so it's a perfect time. And I've got my grill on a medium-high heat. We're not going to cook these too much because we still want the kernels of the corn to be a little bit raw on the inside. We're going to cook these about a minute or two and then turn them. So while I do that, I'm going to start prepping some other things and get it ready. We'll watch our corn while that's happening. The ingredients are really simple. We're going to use some fresh basil. We're going to take maybe 4 or 5 tops here, depending on how bushy they are. And I like to do this just before I'm ready to make the dressing because I want these to be really fresh. And they don't have to be really, really fine. So just kind of roll it up and give it a medium coarse chop. And we'll chop this up, and then that'll get the start to our dressing. And our dressing is really simple. The simpleness of this dressing is this. We're going to take some olive oil, about a 1/4 cup, and then we're going to take about 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar, and then again a heavy shot of salt and 4 or 5 turns of the pepper, and we'll whisk that up, and this will be ready to go. We'll put the basil in just before we make the salad. Let's give those a nice little turn. Look at that, nice little char on that corn there. That's exactly what we're looking for. It's okay that these aren't as charred because we want the kernels to be a little tender on the inside. Corn's ready to come off the grill. We're gonna need all the space we can get on this cutting board. So let's get that in there. Pull our corn, and as you can see, a nice little char on all of them there, but not all the way around. And now this is where it's gonna get a little messy. So you gotta kind of bear with me here. And remember, these are really hot. They've just come off the grill. So hold them with a little towel and then just run your knife down like this. And you see what I mean by messy? So you get the idea. Yeah, they are messy, huh? So while I get the rest of these trimmed up, we'll get everything ready to make the salad. So I've got all my corn cut and put in here, and as I told you, it was messy. The final ingredients, some scallions or green onions, and I cut all of the whites into the light greens, but save this part. I guarantee you we'll be able to use it somewhere else. And we'll put our little tomatoes in there. I like those little grape tomatoes. And I'm gonna put this feta cheese on at the end because of the contrast of the color. So I've got my balsamic olive oil dressing in there. Give this a light, gentle toss. Don't over mix it because we don't want to start breaking things apart. Just get everything to fold in there nicely. And then for me, I'm always about presentation. So we'll get this into our bowl here, being mindful not to get it all on the sides. Watch, I'll get it on the sides, but hopefully it'll stay all right there in the center. And this is really, I like to serve this right away so the corn is still a little bit warm. And then you take that feta cheese and you just sprinkle it over the top. And man, does that look good. I'm telling you what, a grilled corn salad, no one has served this up to you before. And once you do, you're not gonna want it any other way. How about some grilled veggie kebabs by themselves with some steamed rice or a nice flank steak? I've got the recipe. Let's get cooking with style. Summer is bringing on some great vegetables right now. The zucchini, the crookneck squash, of course mushrooms, eggplant, the red bell peppers and onions are always in season. This is going to be really easy to assemble. The key to this is soaking these skewers in water before you do it. And since we're going to be making our sauce that we're going to soak everything in, we're just going to do it in the bowl and make it really simple. Soy sauce, olive oil, and then if you want to kick it up a notch, which I do, we're going to throw in a pretty good pinch of crushed red peppers there. We're going to mix this up to emulsify the soy sauce. Now we're not adding any salt because the soy sauce is plenty salty. And make sure you give this a good mix. And we're going to just toss everything right in there, like so. And we'll give it a nice quick little toss. This isn't gonna marinate, we're just trying to coat everything here. And then we're gonna start assembling the veggie skewers, and we'll take those and put them on the grill. So you get a nice coating over everything, and there's gonna be a little bit left over. You can use that to drizzle it over the top of your skewers when they're on the grill. All right, so this is really kind of mundane, painstaking, but it's as simple as just taking, how about those guys, huh? A little bit of zucchini, some onion, and you just kind of go back and forth, whatever you like. And so we'll get these all skewered up. Make sure you mix up the colors and put in the different types of things on there. We got that beautiful little eggplant, and then we'll put another onion on there. And this is just a random thing. You just kind of pick what you want to put on there. Make sure you slide everything down. I'll get these all skewered up. Let's put in another, let's put in a yellow squash here. I'm gonna get these ready to go on the grill, and then I'll show you how long it takes to cook them up. So we've got these all skewered up. The grill is on a medium-high heat. What I'm gonna do is just throw these on there, and we're really only trying to just kind of blister the vegetables because we kind of want them crunchy. The seasoning from the soy sauce is gonna be perfect. I'll baste it once with the leftover soy. That'll sit on there for about 3 to 4 minutes. We'll flip it and we'll be done in about 10. So we've been basting these kebabs with this little bit of soy oil mixture that's left over. I'm ready to turn these. I want to get this side lightly coated with a little bit of this oil and soy sauce mixture. And you just grab the whole thing and just lift it up and give it a whole turn. You see that nice char on the top? That one looks really good right there. And then this one, pick up, there we go. We're really getting these perfectly charred. We're almost home. Another 4 to 5 minutes on this side and we're done. All right, let's get these off the grill, and it's always that situation where you have to know the grill heat to know when it's done. But roughly about 4 to 6 minutes per side, depending on how hot your grill is. And I'm just gonna stack these up. Look at that one bell pepper trying to get away, huh? We'll put him right back on in there. Now, Those kabobs by themselves right there would be absolutely fantastic. That and a little steamed rice. Let's ramp this up just a little bit with some balsamic vinegar, a glazed balsamic vinegar over the top. Now you could serve this, like I said, with just some rice, but imagine this with a nice, say, flank steak that's sliced really thin, some grilled veggie kabobs with a balsamic glaze on top. That's elevated cooking on Cooking with Styles. Picking up a nice plate of sushi on the way home from work is easy, but having a nice bowl of blistered shishito peppers, it's a whole nother story. I'm going to show you how to make it. It is super easy and it will make the whole meal come together. Let's get cooking with style. Starting off with edamames or shishito peppers is, for me, the best way to go when you're having that sushi. If you've got one of these fancy pans that you can put on your grill, by all means use it. But for me, you know, 40 bucks is just a little too much. So we're gonna do it a little bit different. I've got skewers that I've soaked in water overnight so they don't burn up. And let's get these peppers ready. And it's as simple as this. We're just gonna take a little bit of canola or neutral oil, put it over the top. I've got toasted sesame oil. You can use regular sesame oil, and about a teaspoon. Save the other teaspoon at the very end. We're gonna take a healthy pinch of salt, put that over the top, and I'm gonna give this about 3, maybe 4 turns of peppers, and I'm gonna toss them. And make sure your peppers are nice and dry because the oil will coat over the peppers. If they're wet, the oil will just run off. Eventually it'll coat them, but you want them dry. So wash them off and then dry them off. All right, so this is how simple this is. I mean, it couldn't be any simpler. Remember, these guys are sharp. I take 2 or 3 at a time and I lie them down on the cutting board or whatever you're gonna do, and I just go like this. And then just keep doing that over and over and over. And this is how we're gonna blister these so we can serve them up with our sushi rolls and other types of fresh fish. So I'm gonna get these ready, we'll get them on the grill, and we'll show you what it takes to get them ready to eat. So we've got all these peppers all skewered up and they're ready to go. I've got the grill on high because I'm just trying to blister these. So let's get them on the grill, and keep in mind you don't want the skewers to get over the flame because they'll burn off. So this is gonna be about maybe 3 minutes aside. Check them for blistering, and that's what you're looking for. All right, looking under the hood here, see, that's what we want, that nice kind of char. You gotta kind of pick them up and just flip them. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. That one needs a little more heat. There we go. Okay, let's flip these. Move this guy over here. You gotta know your grill. So the second side goes a lot quicker. We're just gonna put them back in the bowl that we've put all that nice dressing on them and put the finishing touches on this. Remember, these things are on fire, literally. So see that steam coming off? You don't want to be handling those. But you want to serve them right away, okay? I'm going to take the sesame oil. I'm going to put just a little bit. This stuff is super powerful, so be careful of that. A nice little toss again. The shishito peppers. Oh my God, they're so good. You know, you can buy the edamames at the store, but you can't get these pre-made because they're not gonna be hot. Look at that, look how beautiful those look. And don't forget, this is the finishing touch. You have to do the finishing touch here. Some black sesame seed over the top. I don't know how much that adds to the flavor, but man, it sure makes it look pretty. Okay, so there are your blistered shishito peppers with a nice plate of sushi that you picked up on the way home. Serve the shishito peppers up first and have the sushi with a little sake. We're talking unreal. That's Cooking with Styles, casual elegance. The summer harvest is in full swing, and there is nothing better than throwing some fresh vegetables on the grill with lemon or balsamic vinegar. Let's get cooking with Styles. So let me show you some knife skills or prep skills to get these vegetables ready to go. Zucchini, yellow squash, We've got some Japanese eggplant here. And instead of just slicing it like across, we're gonna do kind of a 90-degree angle. This will do two things. It gives me a larger surface area of the vegetable, and then it also just looks better. I like the looks of the food. That's pretty straightforward, simple stuff. The same with the eggplant, we'll slice it that way. Now when it comes to the asparagus, what I want you to do is instead of cutting it up into here where it's tender, you're gonna go ahead and peel that down. And you see how you've peeled it down? You get to use all this asparagus. And when it comes to the portobello mushrooms, what I'd like you to do is take your paring knife, trim that off, and then cut this little hair out, and it'll come right out. This has got kind of a bitter taste to it, and I just don't like it, and it really makes for a much better meal. So we've got our vegetables prepped. We're just gonna take them, throw them right in our big bowl here, and we're just gonna take a little bit of olive oil and drizzle it right over the top of the vegetables, about 2 tablespoons, and about the same over the asparagus and portobello mushrooms. We'll take a little bit of salt over the top, about a tablespoon over each, some fresh cracked pepper. We'll toss those and head over to the grill. I like working with a really hot grill. What I've done is gone ahead and cleaned this and prepped it with a little bit of oil, and we're gonna get everything on this grill as quickly as we can, getting it spread out. So we're just gonna put everything on there like so, and make sure that nothing falls through the cracks, and just kind of spread everything out so you get all the pieces. We lost one down. And we're just gonna let this sit for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, just enough to score it. Get these mushrooms on there, and let's get this asparagus going. We want everything to be a little crispy. We don't want everything to get mushy. So we're gonna let this cook for about 3 or 4 minutes, just enough to score it, then we'll turn it. Let's take a look here, and I think everything should, there we go. Look at this nice little char on everything. Turn it quickly. It is looking good. Now you'll probably have a hotter spot on your grill, just like mine. The back and center are always hotter. We're pretty close here, pretty close. All right, so I've got these flipped over. I'm gonna start pulling these off from the hotter spot of the grill. And we're just gonna randomly throw these in here as they come off the grill. And I'm telling you, this looks so good. This is a great way to start off your outdoor grilling for an evening with friends and family. Get those asparagus in there. And you can see how fast we did this. Total time on the grill, about 3 to 5 minutes, depending on how thick you cut your vegetables. All right, there you go. I'm gonna be serving this up with a little bit of lemon on the side, but if you'd like, you could do it with a little bit of balsamic vinegar glaze on the top. This is a great way to start off your evening, or a great dish on the side when you're serving up barbecue. It is summertime and the vegetables are coming in from the fields. Absolutely fantastic. We're taking some white corn. We're gonna throw it on the grill, but we're gonna do it my version of Mexican street corn. Let's get cooking with Styles. Since this is Mexican street corn, we're not going to be grilling it like you see it at the Del Mar Fair. We're going to be grilling it with the husk off. But here's a couple tips that you may or may not know when it comes to picking corn. One of the things you want to do is peel back a little bit of the husk there and look at the ear to make sure there's no intrusion of bugs and that you've got kernels all the way up to the top. And then we're going to peel this just before we grill it, because keeping the husk on keeps it nice and fresh. And don't worry about a little bit of silk being left on there, because that silk will just kind of add to everything. Now what we're also going to be doing is we're going to be dicing up some cilantro. We've already washed this, and we're just going to give it kind of a medium coarse chop, not really fine. And we'll get this diced up and ready to go. The other thing I want you to get ready is your cotija cheese. Now this comes in a little round circles, and don't grate it, crumble it. Take your fork and just press down on the side, and it falls apart. And this is going to actually be the salty component in our corn. Now what I've gone ahead and done is I've already broken my ears in half. You just go ahead, grab them like this and give it a little snap. We're gonna put about 2 or 3 tablespoons of olive oil over the top. And normally I use kosher salt, but in this instance, we're gonna use some sea salt. It adds a little brininess, and about a tablespoon and maybe a teaspoon more. And then on top of that, we're gonna take a little bit of fresh cracked pepper. And then you can use a spoon, or if you wanna get fancy, just go ahead and toss it like this, and this will coat everything nicely. And once you get this all coated, we're gonna head over to the grill, put this on there, and that's where all the magic happens. I'm working with a medium hot grill here, and what we'll do is we'll just use the grates as a kind of a little area to hold the corn. Now we're gonna put these in here, put the lid down, and let them cook for about 3 or 4 minutes, or until you hear some popping. It'll sound like popcorn if it's too hot, as the kernels start to pop. And we'll rotate these 2 or 3 times to get a nice little char on them. Time for the third turn. A couple things are gonna happen. We're gonna move these a little bit more off to one side. See how you're turning them on thirds there, and I'm looking for the spot that doesn't have the char. That guy needs more, so we're gonna move him over there. And then we're gonna make the dipping sauce, which is really simple. We're just gonna take some butter right here, and we're gonna leave the olive oil from the tossing, and we're gonna leave that in there because there's been no bacteria, just the corn. And we're gonna slip this inside, and we're gonna bring this down over the top and let that melt. Don't forget, this is very hot. So this is gonna be our dipping sauce. We're gonna take a little red sauce, kind of like a, say, Tabasco or something like that, and we're gonna mix that together. And from the grill, we're gonna take our corn and just drop them straight in there, and we're gonna toss them around a little, and then the magic's gonna happen. Let me get this all off the grill here, and we'll get these things tossing. So we just take them out like this, give them a little toss, and that's how you coat them really nice. All right, what I like to do is just kind of randomly put these on here because, you know, it is street corn, so it really shouldn't have any type of form or shape to it. And then, of course, don't let this sauce go away. Just put that over the top, and I'm telling you, it is so good. And to finish this off, that cotija cheese, we'll sprinkle that over the top. Leave a little on the side for someone that might want a little bit more. And be sure you ask your guests if they like cilantro. I mean, I can't imagine making street corn without it. So that is my version of Mexican street corn. I'm talking casual, elegant, south of the border.